In 2013, a spacecraft billions of miles from Earth started playing music. Not static, not noise. An actual eerie tone, rising and falling, recorded in a place with no air, no sound, and no reason to make any at all. And on a frozen moon, 4 billion kilometers from the sun, that same mission found something erupting into the sky on a world that should have been dead for billions of years. This is Voyager, 2 spacecraft that have been quietly breaking physics for almost 50 years. Here are 6 things it found that scientists still cannot fully explain. The sound of interstellar space. In August 2012, Voyager 1 crossed the edge of the sun's bubble and became the first human object to ever leave the solar system. But it kept listening. In late 2012, then again in 2013, its plasma wave instrument picked up vibrations in the thin gas between stars. Shockwaves from our own sun, still traveling outward over a year later. Inside the solar bubble, that vibration was a low hum around 300 hertz. The moment Voyager crossed into interstellar space, the pitch jumped to nearly 3,000 hertz, 10 times higher. NASA converted the readings into sound, and what you hear is an eerie, rising tone, like a plucked string echoing through empty space. It wasn't just eerie, it was proof. The jump in pitch told scientists the gas outside our solar system is far denser than anyone predicted. Voyager didn't just leave home, it found a way to make the silence of deep space sing, the moon that should be dead. But sound wasn't the only impossible thing Voyager found. On August 24th, 1989, Voyager 2 flew past Triton, Neptune's largest moon, expecting a dead world. Triton sits so far from the sun that nitrogen freezes solid onto the ground. Then the images came back. A dark plume, rising nearly 8 kilometers straight up before bending sideways into a drifting cloud stretching 150 kilometers downwind. Smoke pouring from a chimney on a moon that should have been frozen solid for billions of years. Scientists now believe sunlight seeps through Triton's translucent icy crust, heats a pocket of trapped nitrogen, and forces it to erupt violently through the ice. It was only the second time in history an eruption like this had ever been caught beyond Earth. One flyby turned Triton from the coldest, quietest corner of the solar system into one of its most violently alive. The storm with 6 perfect corners. Sound and ice weren't the strangest things Voyager caught. When it flew past Saturn in 1980 and 1981, its cameras photographed a storm near the North Pole that made almost no sense. Storms are supposed to be circular, chaotic, drifting. This one had straight edges and 6 perfect corners. A hexagon nearly 30,000 kilometers wide, wider than the diameter of Earth, locked permanently in place around the pole. Cassini flew past Saturn 25 years later and photographed the exact same 6-sided storm, still spinning, still perfectly geometric. Scientists believe it's a rare standing wave, locked in by the speed of Saturn's rotation. But nobody has ever fully explained why it settled on 6 sides instead of 5 or 8 or none at all. A storm the size of 2 Earths has been holding a shape nature almost never allows, and it hasn't stopped once. The streaks, that shouldn't float. And Saturn had another secret hiding in plain sight. While studying its rings in 1980, Voyager's cameras caught thin, dark streaks flickering across them, cutting through like spokes on a bicycle wheel, thousands of kilometers long but only 100 kilometers wide. In some images, they looked dark. In others, the exact same streaks looked bright. That told scientists these weren't solid objects. They were clouds of microscopic dust, somehow lifted directly off the rings. Saturn's gravity should have pulled that dust back down in seconds. Something else was holding it up. The leading theory ties it to Saturn's magnetic field, possibly triggered by micrometeorite impacts, but the timing never quite lines up. Cassini caught the spokes again in 2005, then watched them vanish for years before returning. Nobody has ever caught the exact moment they form. The edge of home isn't smooth. For decades, scientists pictured the edge of our solar system as a smooth, rounded boundary, like the surface of a giant balloon holding the solar wind inside. Then Voyager reached it. Instead of a clean edge, its instruments found the sun's magnetic field breaking apart into a churning froth of magnetic bubbles, tens of millions of kilometers wide, tangled together like foam on a wave. NASA scientists described it as magnetic field lines snapping and reconnecting over and over, like rubber bands tangling and suddenly releasing. The boundary of our entire solar system, the last line between us and interstellar space, wasn't a wall. It was a chaotic bubble bath of magnetism, constantly popping and reforming. Scientists had to rewrite their models of the heliosphere because of what Voyager found. Proof that the edge of home is the most turbulent place the sun touches, the planet that fooled us for 40 years. But the strangest twist of all came from Uranus. In January 1986, Voyager 2 became the only spacecraft in history to fly past it. What it measured seemed to make the planet impossibly strange. A magnetic shield, almost completely empty, drained of the charged particles every other planet's magnetosphere is packed with. For nearly 40 years, scientists assumed Uranus was fundamentally different. Then in 2024, researchers went back through the old data and found something Voyager had no way of knowing at the time. Just days before the flyby, an unusually powerful blast of solar wind had struck Uranus, compressing its magnetic field and violently blowing its charged particles away. An event that only happens a few % of the time. Voyager caught Uranus in a single 6-hour window. During the one moment in years it looked nothing like itself. Every textbook describing Uranus's empty magnetosphere may have been describing a planet caught in a freak accident, not the planet as it actually is. 6 discoveries. 2 spacecraft, both built in the 1970s, both running on less computing power than a calculator, both still transmitting from farther away than any human object has ever traveled. A hexagon that shouldn't hold its shape. A moon that shouldn't be alive. An edge to our solar system that shouldn't be smooth. And wasn't. Every time Voyager looked at something we thought we understood, it found a reason to prove us wrong. And it's still out there right now, drifting through true darkness, running out of power a little more every year, still sending back numbers that don't quite add up. Someday, both Voyagers will go silent for good, and whatever they haven't told us yet, we may never find out. If any of these mysteries kept you thinking, leave a like so more people find this. And subscribe, because we've got an entire universe left to explain.